Hello again, my friends. I'm here with the beloved astrologer Babylonian and ancient astrologer Krasi. Hi, Krasi.
Hello, Lada. Hello, everyone.
Thank you for agreeing to join us on this special astrology bonanza where we make predictions, world predictions up to from 2017 to 2021. And Krasi has chosen a very fascinating topic. Can you tell us, Krasi, what will you be talking about?
Yes, I would like to base my prediction on the knowledge of the Babylonian astrologers, which made predictions mainly in two most important periods of the year. First, for them, the first very important period was the first Nisan. This was the first in ancient Sumer. This was the first lunar crescent before the spring, the vernal equinox. So this was the first
Nisan. Nisan is the first month of the year, basically.
Exactly.
Before, so the first crescent moon, the moon when it comes out from new moon before the lunar, before the equinox.
Yes, exactly. In Akkad was the one after, but we will talk about the most ancient theory of and way of predicting future events. Then the second basic period which they used in order to predict future events was the first lunar crescent, which Alada just explained, but in this time before the autumn, the fall equinox. So
why is it not after? It makes like sense. Or you say that because it's a messenger for the equinox, so it has to be before that.
Yes, it was like that. The Akkadians later in Babylon changed this practice, and they used to do it after, because they were chasing one star on the sky, and they kind of tried to cheat a little bit the astrology and the history, but actually the real prediction was made using the equinoxes, the lunar crescent before the equinoxes.
Yeah, like the lunar crescent, like what we call new moon, the proper new moon, not like the conjunction of the moon and the sun, but when the moon appears after that conjunction. For the first time before the spring and autumn equinoxes was the two times they would predict the next 6 months.
Exactly. Yes. So these 2 days of the first lunar crescent visible on the evening sky after the sun sets, these were the most important days that would basically give a description of the next 6 months to come.
And they would look for omens, what's happening in the sky. They would say, this is what's going to happen in our kingdom.
Yes, so exactly. So what is happening is I noticed that just 3 days after the total solar eclipse, we had the first lunar crescent before the autumn equinox, which happened on the 24th of August. And then certainly we have ominous events and phenomenon on the sky. I don't know if you like me to share screen, Lada, and then I just point.
Yes.
I can do this. Share screen. Select a window, excuse me. Okay, it will be this one. Okay, I'm sharing. Okay, so I hope you see when I'm pointing. First, what you will notice, this is the first lunar crescent conjoined with Jupiter. But the most important thing that I would like to start with is that this first lunar crescent is appearing on the 30th lunar day. And this is already considered an omen, because if the moon does not complete the 30th day and show up on the first lunar day, then this will have an impact on the throne. This will have an impact on the duration of the rulership. This will certainly create problems to the rulership.
Which rulers though? We have many rulers.
Well, this is the chart of America.
Oh.
And I take America as the basic and the most important power of the world. So that is the chart of America. And certainly when of course, this is the case, will be valid for all over the world, but this is the chart of America. And since this is following up the solar eclipse that we had, I have
3 days after the solar eclipse.
Immediately 3 days after the very dramatic solar eclipse. So what we see here is that exactly 3 days, as you said. First, what we said, this harmonious number of the lunar days, which already shows that the following up events won't be that harmonious for the people. Then we know that the brightness of Jupiter, of course, is good for the people, but with one exception. Jupiter conjoined with the moon is, according to the ancient text, really not good. In general, Jupiter is good except when conjoined with the moon, and this will have again impact on the rulership but also on the people.
Why would Jupiter not be good when it's conjunct? The moon is the people, but why is that? They just notice that?
This is the only exception which shows that Jupiter always brings plenty, peace, except in close connection with the moon. I'm quoting Enuma Nu Enlil cuneiform tablets, which say that this gives instability to the throne and problems to the people. Then if we continue, another conjunction, quite wide, but still it's conjunction between Jupiter and Mars, also not very harmonious.
Sun and Mars.
Oh, excuse me. This is Mars, invisible, and this is Venus. This conjunction, especially happening in Cancer, is, according to the ancient text, giving revolution to the West, and the West is Amaro, it is USA. This would mean that people would revolt. They won't be pleased with the political status, with the current situation. You might have different complaints that will be visible through revolts or different way of expressing.
And that's till April, that's till March 2018.
Yes, exactly. And Mars in Cancer, though invisible, when invisible, Mars is showing softer characters. He won't be that really aggressive, but still, he would give wet weather. He will give instability when in the last degrees of Cancer. These are destructive degrees of Cancer.
What about all those fires that have been happening? I mean, California has been, the wine industry has been wiped out. I mean, houses, people have been wiped out. Puerto Rico, all those, immediately after the eclipse, and this new moon that you're talking about, disaster after disaster started happening in the USA. Hurricanes, floods, and fires currently. I mean, wow, what are we in for?
Yes, it had to do with the eclipse. I'm certain this had to do with the eclipse, and the eclipse was happening, if you remember, in the 4th degrees of Leo, where Regulus is the heart of Leo. Certainly, this had to do with this point of the eclipse. We spoke in a video, if you remember, and I'm sure that people can find this video on your website.
Yes, you spoke, and you said that it will affect the president very strongly because it falls on his ascendant, the eclipse. But he seems to be doing fine. But there's still time. You said that this eclipse will be activated later because it happened in the second watch. Can you?
In the second watch, yes, it happened in the second watch, and this watch is giving consequences a bit later, and the duration of the eclipse might be later. And when we compare with this natal chart of the equinox, with this chart doesn't look that scary, but it's also not very harmonious, because look at the meridian and Saturn stationary.
Oh, yes.
Now, Saturn was not considered a bad star because Saturn would be wise and would give stability. Saturn is predictable. Therefore, Mars was considered bad, but not Saturn.
Mars was the big, actually, was bringing wars, pestilence, and the kind of natural disasters and diseases and stuff. Yeah, Mars was the big baddie in ancient astrology.
Indeed. The good thing is that now in this chart Mars is invisible, thus calmer, a bit softer, and in the chart of the solar eclipse, Mars was invisible as well. So this is a good point. But Saturn is in a stationary phase, and Saturn is the star of Akkad and also star of Amaru. In the ancient texts, Akkad and Amaru respond to America and Europe. And when Saturn in a stationary phase...
How do they know about America in ancient texts?
Well, you compare this geographically. This is the only way you can really find out which ancient directions respond to...
okay, they say this is west, this is north. Something like that.
Yes, this way. So Saturn in Scorpio typically is rebellious. He's weakening the country, weakening the rulership of the country again. But in a stationary position, they say, against all our beliefs, contemporary beliefs, they say the Saturn will give stability. So this is one point that says that even though the throne won't be very stable, the throne will not fall. So this is the idea practically. The thrones in Europe and in America of the higher ruling hierarchy won't be indeed stable. You will have revolts, people complaining, but will certainly be will not fall.
So the presidency is safe here. Okay, there will be attacks and people won't be happy, but it seems like the president will stay in power.
Yes, and they say this is not very positive for the markets, this particular position of Saturn. There will be fall on the markets, and what I forgot to say in the start was that when the moon does not complete the 30th day, lunar day, and this is happening in this particular month of Ululu, there will be frost and the winter will be very chilly, very cold.
Oh, wow. Well, they're saying that we're here in Washington. They're saying that some kind of a very cold wave is going to come, and we don't usually have any snow. Apparently, it's going to cover us in feet of snow. So, yes, it sounds like your prediction is correct. They're predicting a very severe winter.
Yeah, it also look at this conjunction of Venus and Mars in Cancer, this wet sign. Saturn is in a very wet position. It will be rainy, it will be frosty. I think
fires again. Where is that fire coming from? Is it the conjunction of Mars with the eclipse?
Could be, even though to tell you Mars was not that evil, but could be at the point of his visibility, which is, I think Mars, very recently Mars appeared visible.
Yes, that's when the fire started.
Then that is what he brought when became visible. During his invisibility, he is not evil, but later on, yes. When he appears, he would be.
Okay. I see.
So, yes.
So
yeah.
But you're not predicting that the currency will lose all its value, say the dollar or something like that. You're just saying that markets will not be as strong, they'll go down.
Totally. There will be issues with the market, yes. Because especially with this position of the Saturn, there was particular almana, which would say that when Saturn is turning direct after stationary phase, this would have in Scorpio, this would have negative impact on the market. But so we will see. And they even say that during this particular route tour of Saturn, when going out of Scorpio and reaching Sagittarius, the king should be careful.
Isn't that right now? Exactly, Saturn is moving into sidereal, fixed tropical, fixed sidereal Babylonian.
Yeah, like 2 weeks to go or something. It will happen in the beginning of November.
Oh, yes. And so you're saying that, well, then this eclipse, what is it? If the power of the king is Saturn, make sure that the king stays in power, how is this eclipse going to play out?
The eclipse will, I'm sure that the eclipse is covering a longer period, and even if the rulership in America will stay into power, the throne will be very unstable for sure. There will be revolts, people will be disappointed, will be complaining, and certainly there will be something happening. We cannot exactly say what, but since the heart of the nation, see, the heart of the king was, of Leo was afflicted. What is the most important for America? The finances. The markets, the rulership over the world through markets, through just this way we have to think. This will be afflicted, this will suffer, together with the throne, of course, to some degree.
Oh, let's hope people don't lose their pensions and their savings and their, you know, such things that they've been working hard for. Why is it always that the poor, normal people get it rather than, you know, well.
Unfortunately, this is how the
system is. Yeah, we have to accept it. Suffering comes from not accepting reality and resisting it. But wow, Krasi, we have to do this every 6 months, every time. When is the new moon before the spring or autumn equinox? We have to do that. You have to tell us what omens are seen in the sky and what you predict.
Yes, yes, certainly. This will be, of course, very interesting. There is always an ominous phenomena related to these particular dates. And here the most important is the Saturn in a fast. And
Saturn direction.
Yes, when analyzing the spring equinox, we can, of course, look at the fertility. You know, this will be very interesting. In general, it is said that when Mars is invisible, he will be not destructive. He will be linked to fertility. But of course, this is has much more sense to analyze when we do the spring equinox analysis.
Yes, we'll look at the spring equinox. I can't wait to have you back. Guys, you can check out Krasi's videos. She has quite a few videos already on her playlist at my channel. And we do occasionally interviews as well. She has videos on the sidereal Babylonian zodiac that she's doing for the 12 signs. And she has examples of how she does readings using ancient astrology knowledge. You can contact her for a reading as well. I'll put the details below. Thank you so much, Krasi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wada.
Screen share so I can see you.
Oh, excuse me. I will do this. How do I do this? Okay, I think I stopped it now.
Yes, so I'm not going to take more of people's your time, but that was short, precise, scary as well. But also there's some stabilization, as you said, because of Saturn being stationary. So thank you for that insight, Krasi, coming from 5,000-year knowledge. And yeah, looking forward to having more on the channel. And guys, contact Krasi for a personal reading using those ancient forgotten methods that very few astrologers around the world know at all. Very few people have access to those clay tablets with omens. So thank you so much, Krasi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Wada. Bye-bye.